Mr.
Yes.
Secretary, Radio Hanoi claims that North Vietnam shot down 8 attacking U.S. planes Wednesday and damaged 3 others.
I think this is typical of the veracity of their reports. We lost 2 aircraft, as I reported to you yesterday. One, an A-4, which is a jet attack aircraft, naval aircraft, and the other, an A-1, which is a propeller-driven naval aircraft, both operating off of the carriers Ticonderoga and Constellation. In addition, there was minor damage to 2 other aircraft, both of which have returned safely. Yes.
Do you have any information over the last 4 days that would indicate the Chinese Communists made any military efforts to assist or respond, assist the North Vietnamese to respond to our attacks?
No, I have no information that the Communist Chinese in any way assisted the North Vietnamese in their attacks on our vessels. I think it probable that the Communist Chinese will introduce some combat aircraft into North Vietnam in support of them. As I told you before, North Vietnam does not possess any combat aircraft of its own.
Mr. Secretary, you say you think it's highly probable. Does that mean that you already have indication?
No, I have no indication of it, but I would think that that would be a likely response.
Mr. Secretary, have you had any word, one way or another, that there has been a 3rd incident of any kind as claimed by Radio Hanoi?
No, we have no indication of any 3rd incident. There have been no attacks or hostile actions directed toward our vessels operating in the Gulf. I explained to you yesterday that our routine patrol is functioning in this area, moving south. We have 2 carriers, the Ticonderoga and the Constellation, in approximately this position. They, in turn, are escorted by destroyers. There have been no attacks or reported attacks or attempted attacks at any of the vessels operating in that area.
Mr. Secretary, there have been reports about considerable troop movements by U.S. aircraft in South Vietnam to the 17th parallel. Could you give us an assessment about those?
We have, to the best of my knowledge, moved no South Vietnamese troops, nor have we moved U.S. troops into South Vietnam. We have, as I reported to you yesterday, moved interceptor aircraft into South Vietnam to be prepared for whatever eventuality develops. We have, in addition, moved certain fighter aircraft into South Vietnam. We've moved certain fighter aircraft into Thailand. We've made reinforcements of our advanced bases in the Pacific, reinforcements moved out of the United States for that purpose. We have moved certain fleet units. I mentioned the attack carrier group moving from the 1st Fleet, which is homed in the Pacific waters off the Pacific coast, out into the Western Pacific. We've also moved an anti-submarine warfare task group down into the South China Sea. This in order to provide proper protection to our carriers and destroyers operating in these waters, both in the Gulf and in these waters south of Hainan Island.
Mr. Secretary, it's been some 48 hours now since that first attack. In studying the situations further, have you arrived at any answer to the mystery of why this was done?
No, I can offer no explanation. We've considered a number of alternative explanations, but it would be sheer speculation on my part to express them to you, and I think it'd be better not to do so, yes.
If the North Vietnamese are holding an American pilot, does it appear that it is Lieutenant Everett Alvarez?
There is some indication that if they hold one of our pilots, it is he.
What are the indications?
We believe that he bailed out of his aircraft. There was an indication from the automatic beeper attached to a parachute that he did so.
What sort of status does a man like this have, and what steps can be taken?
He's a captive of war, and we would seek through neutral channels to obtain his release. Whether we are successful in doing so, I don't know, but we're bringing to bear every possible pressure to that end.